All right, so Oceanside 70.3 was this past weekend. Huge race, Pro Series race, which means it's part of the 18 race calendar. It's part of the 18 race Ironman calendar across the year where athletes can accrue points towards an end of season bonus. I'm not competing in that, but what it means is that this race, Oceanside's always really competitive because it's like the North American season opener, but particularly being part of the Pro Series, it was very, very competitive. I didn't really have any expectations for a couple of reasons that I'll go into, but top 10, I thought that top 12 would have been like dream day just based on who was in the field. And yeah, so to come in 9th, I feel like about as well as it could have gone. And with this result, I moved myself up to 116th in the world. I didn't go into this race like hugely full of confidence. Well, I was confident in my fitness. I knew I was really fit. My swim has been good, going to the 5:30 a.m. master swim 3 times a week. My bike, the power has been great, best ever. I made so much progress over this winter and, posted a video about it. My threshold was the highest it's ever been. And my run is about as, I think, from a half marathon to marathon running, and very much from a running off the bike point of view, it's the best it has ever been. I think when I was in college and you're running a lot of track and you're really fast, I was able to run 26, 27 second 200s, repetitions in practice. I could not do that now, but I think if I were to do a sort of threshold workout or a marathon workout, I would be able to drop myself in my best collegiate shape, or at least give myself a really good push. It would be like close to even, which is really good. That's my best running shape ever. I wasn't swimming, I wasn't biking, so it's a lot easier to get fast. So I was super, super confident in my run fitness. What I wasn't confident in was my biking and equipment situation. So I've done the entire block, literally up until race week, on the trainer on my road bike. So I wasn't even able to ride TT position. And that was because I didn't have a bike. So I had a bike sponsor last year. It was only a loaner bike, and then we were renegotiating for 2025, and then very last minute the rug was pulled, and all I had was my old Canyon Speedmax frame, a remnant from when I was training with Lionel Sanders in 2022, but it was extremely, extremely cracked, and it was not safe to ride. I raced on it for years, and the cracks were kind of stable, but towards the end, last summer, they were definitely expanding, and I was able to almost pull, I think if I tried really hard, I could have literally torn the seat stays off. So not safe to ride. So literally the next day when I got the email that I was dropped and wouldn't have a bike, I started the process of reaching out to Ruckus Composites, which is in Portland. Unfortunately, the process takes time, and it took until 7 days out from the race just to get the frame back. So I got the frame back, carbon repaired, and then had to set it up, try to match my fit from what it was before, and then I got 2 rides in TT position, able to practice the TT position, and then I got 1 outdoor ride, and then it was time to travel. The muscles are different in the time trial position versus on the road bike. So my power was great, but I thought there's a chance that my back gives out or my legs cramp up, and that obviously hurts my bike and my run off the bike. So I thought there was a chance I end up walking or cramping or whatever. I don't know. But that's kind of what I was dealing with on the days before. The other thing going into this race is I had my Mustache on the line. I had a bet with Justin Reale. Whoever beats the other, if he beats me, I shave my mustache on Instagram Live. And if I beat him, he gives me $500, which honestly, looking back at it, that's not a good bet in my favor. It kind of says that I only value my mustache at $500, which honestly, it'll grow back. It'll grow back. It's fine. But maybe I should have tried to squeeze more money out of you, Justin, because I know he's good for it. Mr. LinkedIn full-time job. That was my main goal for the race. Is doesn't matter what else happens, just keep the gap off the bike as small as possible to Justin, and then run your ass off and keep the mustache. Before we go into the race recap itself, I want to shout out today's video sponsor, Transparent Labs. Look, I don't need to extol the virtues of protein intake to everybody watching this channel, and it's extremely important for supporting yourself through a very hard training block leading into an Ironman or 70.3 event. And that's why I use Transparent Labs 100% grass-fed whey. It's really convenient. I either bring it with me to my workouts, or it's the first thing I have when I get back from my workouts, to have that 2 grams per kilogram magic number protein intake to make sure I'm absorbing the maximum amount of protein that I can throughout the day. All of Transparent Labs products are third-party tested and Informed Choice certified, so there's nothing tainted, there's no banned substances in here, there's nothing that's gonna get you into trouble, there's nothing that I could take that would trigger a positive drug test. When I eventually get good enough to get drug tested, it's happening soon. So it's a protein blend that I have confidence in. My favorite flavor, which I have here, is the milk chocolate, but if that's not your thing, you can order a variety pack from the website and see which one suits you best. If you want to get some for yourself, go ahead and use my code ARI in all caps for 10% off transparentlabs.com, or use the affiliate link in the description. And thank you, Transparent Labs, for sponsoring today's video. So Oceanside swim, lined up all the way on the right side. I had Robbie Deckard to my left, who I knew would be like a pretty good guy for me to swim with, and gun goes off, and I had a great first, I don't know how long it was, 100, 150 meters. I was like right next to Robbie on his hip, and I was like, oh, this is great. You know, I can swim here, maybe eventually slot in on his feet or see when the packs form. And I don't want to say I was timid, but I wasn't super aggressive. I was kind of like, I'm swimming well enough. I'm swimming like, you know, with a guy who I know is going to be like coming out in a solid position. And then I started getting kind of like somebody was coming up on my, like just pushing my legs underwater, just like swimming on top of me. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then kind of before I knew it, whoever it was like swam over me. And then I moved back like an entire several positions and have to kind of try to gain my momentum again. In the future, now I know, I talked to my boys, Greg and Justin, about it, and they were like, dude, just try to kick the guy in the face. So that took me from, you know, Robbie Deckard, who ended up coming out right behind Lionel, who won the race, to the back of that group, and the back of that group stretches over the course of the swim. So I came out a full minute behind Robbie and Lionel and whoever I was swimming with at that time. Came out of the water 4 minutes behind the leader, Greg Harper, right around 27 minutes. And I guess had like a really bad T1. Got on my bike, and you know, now that I recap this, like I just wasn't aggressive for most of the day, for the first half of the day. So the first 30, 40 minutes of the bike, I didn't have my power up. I just had the timer. There were times where I got stuck behind slower athletes. And this was a product of, I didn't know the course. Look, the course is in Camp Pendleton. It's a military base, so you cannot preview the course the day before or ever. The only time you would ever see the course is if you do the race. So in that regard, people who did the race have a huge advantage. I had never seen the course. I didn't know if there was like a corner coming up, or there were kind of a lot of no pass zones. And so sometimes I was like, wait, am I in a no pass zone right now? Like this is a super narrow strip of bike path or whatever. So I didn't pass immediately several times because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen in the next 15, 20 seconds, you know, and you want to avoid a penalty at all costs. And that took me the first 30 or 40 minutes to kind of get by people and get some, you know, open road in front of me. And by that time I looked at my Garmin and I was pushing like 330 watts average, 340 normalized. So from there, I just tried to keep, you know, pretty constant pressure on the pedals. It wasn't super eventful. I wasn't pushing like insane power. I definitely didn't feel very comfortable in the TT position, which wasn't a surprise, but I felt like I was riding well enough and my power was solid. And eventually caught up to Robbie Deckard, who my early swim buddy, and Patrick Longa, the reigning Ironman world champion. And I went by them, And I didn't really attack, but they stayed right on me and kind of rode with them for the rest of the bike. So I rode a 211. My power for the most part was up in that 340 watts normalized, 300, it was like 328 average. The last bit when I was just riding with Robbie and Patrick and we were kind of going through town and it, you know, gets a little bit technical, the power went down and I just chilled because I was kind of trying to get ready to run. So it ended up at 321 watts average, 334 normalized, which is good. I think that's the second best sort of power I've ever pushed. So I rode a 211, just under 212. I had lost almost 6.5 minutes to Justin Reale, who also swam like 3.5 minutes faster than me. And then I guess also had both a much better T1 and T2. So that's me just giving away free time. And I believe I had a 12-minute or 11-something deficit to make up off the bike, which is a lot. I know my strength is the run, and that's Justin's weakest of the three, so I knew I'd make up a fair chunk of time, but yeah, that's a lot. Now, thankfully, I didn't actually know it was that much, because when I saw my buddy Evan, who was on course giving me splits, he said 10 minutes the first time, which was a lie. And he lied to make it think that I was closer than I was. And that was cool because I heard 10 minutes and I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. I'm gonna run a 107 right now. And you know, he's not gonna run a 117, so it's fine. I came around after a full lap and I heard 7 minutes and I was like, what? How did I only take out 3 minutes in the first half? Like, I'm only gonna run 6 minutes faster than him. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to shave my mustache on Instagram Live. And then I saw Evan again, like, it was probably around a mile later, and he said 6 minutes, and I was like, okay. So 6 minutes with 6 miles to go at that point. I tried to really turn my turnover up. I went through the first half of the race in 34:50, 109:40 pace, so slower than I was hoping for. So I was trying to negative split, run faster on the second lap. Fairly uneventful until 2 miles to go, or 2.5 miles to go. There's a turnaround. So I saw Justin coming out of the turnaround, looked at my watch, and then got to the turnaround, and I was like, okay, he's 2 minutes and 10 seconds ahead, and there's 2.5 miles to go. I probably still can't do it. Like, I assumed he was running better than he was at that point, and I was like, I still didn't think that I was going to close the gap in time. You know, I'm still in the race. Like, there was Colin Such was ahead of me, Braden Curry was ahead of me, and these are like really awesome scalps to get. Like, you know, Braden Curry especially has been around the sport for such a long time, so finishing ahead of him is like, it means you had a pretty good day, as long as he's not having a which it didn't seem like he was. 1K to go. It's just a long 1K stretch where you can basically see the finish. And it was me, Braden Curry, a little bit ahead, and then I saw Justin in that motherfucking yellow suit. I was like directly behind. I was trying to stay like directly behind Braden because I didn't want Justin to look back, see that I was right there, and then like, you know, have a second wind or something. So I looked down at my watch, I saw 20.4K. I was like, okay, we've got under 2 minutes left of running right now. Just send it. So once I started really just going, I passed Braden, and then I passed Justin really quick. And then, yeah, there I was. That was my race. Looked down at my watch and it was like 109.50. That was great. Honestly, like euphoria, like cross the line, you're like, oh my God, like that was great. And I got everything out of myself, which is all you can ask for. So it's like when you get everything out of yourself, do like as good of execution as you can, really. I can swim better, but otherwise as good of execution as I can, and the external result is really good. It's great. And my girlfriend Iris was there, and her family, who lives in Carlsbad, which is who we stayed with in the days before the race. They were all there at the finish, and yeah, it's pretty just awesome. So no ads on this video because I want to take some time to shout out my sponsors. Number one, couple.com, who has been with me for over 3 years at this point, like just helping make this sport financially viable for me. So shout out couple.com. They are testing out the New York area. So if you are a single in New York City, go check out a couple.com event and maybe you'll just find your special somebody. I don't know. give it a shot. My two sponsors on the nutrition side, we've got Blank's Sports Nutrition. I use their, well, it's a custom high carb mix that will be available in the summer. It's called Strug Juice. And then they also have this amazing hydrogel mix, which they give you a reusable flask, so there's no single-use gels, and you put it in and you shake it around, and then boom, you have a hydrogel. Truly, truly amazing sports nutrition product. There's nothing like it, and altogether, Blank's is the cheapest sports nutrition on the market. It's even cheaper if you use my code RE10, and these are commission-based deals, so if you use this code, you're really helping me out, and also you should just drink Blank's anyway, because it's the best stuff that there is, and I swear by that. Other nutrition sponsor, sort of nutrition sponsor, Nerd Belt. It is a hydration belt that you wear while you run. I wear it on literally every run, unless it's like, honestly, sometimes even if it's just a 30-minute run, because staying fueled, staying hydrated, staying up on carbs while you're running is one of the harder things to do, because most hydration belts up until Nerd Belts have sucked. But Nerd Belt has absolutely solved that issue for me. It's so comfortable to run with. I ran with it in the race. I race with it. I do all my workouts with it. If you want to get yourself a Nerd Belt, use code RE20 for 20% off. This is also a commission-based deal. So if you use this code and buy a Nerd Belt or anything from the website, I will also be majorly helped out. And then my equipment sponsor, DT Swiss. Huge upgrade on the speed side of things. I know my bike optimization needs a lot of work in terms of position and aero testing, but having the best wheels on the market, they've got super fast rims, the best hubs in the business in terms of speed and reliability. Like, I'm just so confident in these wheels, and it's been a huge help this season to have DT Swiss as one of my equipment sponsors. And then the other one, not really a sponsor, but just want to give a shout out to Hoob and Dean Jackson for sending over the wetsuit and the race kit that I raced in. Two of the best pieces of kit that I've ever worn. So yeah, I don't have a code or anything, but just shout out to Hoob. That stuff was awesome. Next up is 70.3 Chattanooga on May 18th. So this race, I think, will be much more my speed than Oceanside. It's going to be a downriver swim, which, let's go. Rolling bike course, which I think suits me pretty well. And a hot, humid, and hilly, or I think there's at least some hills in it, run. So, once you get onto the run in pretty hard conditions, it just favors the fitter runners. And it's not a Pro Series race. It's just your standard sort of North American 70.3. So the field will be nothing like the one at Oceanside. So huge potential to finish a lot higher there than I did at Oceanside. Maybe my first podium. I'm excited at the prospect. And I think that I am getting to that level of athlete now where I can go into a race like Chattanooga and say, yeah, I'm trying to make it on the podium, if not win. I'm not going to limit myself. Maybe I can win that race. If Chattanooga goes well, that could, on its own, push me into the top 100, which is, again, my goal for the year. So if I do that, I'll have to come up with a new goal. But yeah, going to try to stay focused and just do what I can to get on my first professional podium.